Shalom Aleichem, good week. It's Parshas Tzav. This week is Tzav and Shabbos HaGadol. And of course, you know what happens 2 days after Shabbos HaGadol, that's Pesach. Monday night, we have Pesach. That comes once a year. The international anniversary of Holocaust survivors. That's right. Pesach night is the international conference of Holocaust survivors. Holocaust means Mitzrayim. They wanted to wipe us out there, and we meet every year on the 15th night of Nisan as an international gathering of Holocaust survivors. We have survived all the Holocausts of Bayis Rishon, by first Mitzrayim, then Bayis Rishon, Bayis Sheni, and Gerush, Sfarad, Khmelnytsky massacres, the Tsars, the Jewish communists, the Jewish secular Zionists, and now we are standing here, Erev Pesach, Tovshin Ayin, 5770, in the year 2010. Now we're going to discuss tonight 3 dynamite inyanim. First of all, how big must your coast be to be yotze minimum? This size, this size, this size, or the smallest size, this size. We'll get to that. But before we do that, let us talk about Tzav. Tzav is Aaron, so why don't you call it Aaron? But Yikach Korach, we call it Korach. Eile told those Noach, he called it Noach. Yiyu Chaye Sora, we call it Chaye Sora. So why don't we call it Aaron? Tzav's Aaron. The answer is because he did the Egel, and we want to censor him. Number 2, Tzav is 96. And there's exactly, they tell us, at the end of the Sefer Parshas Tzav, 96 Pesukim. Tzav is 96. So they call it Tzav, because there's 96 Pesukim. If you're a non-trusting soul like me, who analyzes everything, you'll see it's not 96 Pesukim. It's just, you can't help it. It's just not 96. Add them up, it's 97. So how could the Gaonim, who write those little footnotes at the end of every parsha in the Torah, how many Pesukim, how did they write 96 when I read 97? It's 97, because it's 97. That's why it's 97. How did they write Tzav is 96? It's not emes. 2 is not 3. No. 2 is 2 and 3 is 3. And how come in the parsha by Chamishi it says these are the big day Aaron? You mentioned all of them, but you only mentioned 7, not 8. And you know the big day Aaron were 8. Certain things don't bother a lot of people, but some people who learn slowly they notice these things. So let's talk about Tzav. There is 96 Pesukim. But it's 97. Answer is the middle of the Torah in Pesukim is in Tzav. Happens to be chapter Ches, Pasuk Ches. Ches, Ches, Chatzi, Chatzi. The middle of the Torah. Chapter Ches, Pasuk Ches. Talks about the 2 Pesukim that when Moshe put on the clothes of Aaron, and 2 Pesukim really should be 1, but they broke it in half, so there's 97 Pesukim, but it's really 96, because there's really one thought. And that Pasuk Ches, at the Parsha Ches, Pasuk Ches, is the beginning of the second half of the Torah. It doesn't say Emtza HaTorah. It says Chatzi. Chatzi means it's an even number. 4 is 2 and 2. 6 is 3 and 3. 10 is 5 and 5. Never says anywhere in the Torah, Emtza HaTorah, middle of the Torah. That would mean an odd number, like 5. 1, 2, 4, 5, 3 in the middle. 3 is odd number, 1, 3, 2. There's no such thing as Emtza HaTorah in Pesukim, or Emtza HaTorah in Tevos, or Emtza HaTorah in Osios. There is a Chatzi HaTorah in Pesukim, that's this week's Parsha, in Chamishi, when the Torah describing about the big day Aaron. And then there is Chatzi HaTorah in Tevos, a little bit later. And Chatzi Torah Osios a little later. But never Emsa, middle. You know why? Everything is either to the right or to the left. Black or white. Asur or mutter. Kosher or not kosher. Tomei or tohar. Zakai or chayiv. There's no such thing in the Torah that's gray. Everything is black or white. It says you should teach it to your children, the Torah. Vishinantem. Why not? V'limadatem. Shinayim or teeth. You bite a piece of carrot in half, 2 parts. You bite a piece of meat in half, 2 parts. Teach it to your Torah, to your son, so clear that he sees this and that. Everything has no suffix. Loaded with fakers. That's only on details, but there's no suffix in the Ikarim. If you should keep Shabbos or not, or eat Chametz on Pesach or not, or if you can have Basar B'Cholov together, there's no suffix about that. Or if you can wear shatnez, there's no suffix about that. So everything in the Torah is crystal clear. Make it like Shinayim. Make it absolutely black and white. That's why black and white is not a color. Black and white is the absorption of all colors. White is the reflection of all colors. And all the other colors in the middle are 7. Roy, G, BV. Roy, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, indigo. 7 colors, but black is all colors together. White is a reflection of all colors. Therefore, the Torah has to be written black on white. There's no color, no maybes in the Torah. That's why the Rambam says if you want to write a beautiful Sefer Torah with gold ink, it's possible. It got to be black on white. Not white on black. It has to be black on white. It's the concept of black fire on white fire. The type of reward you get, the type of Gehenna, there could be a black fire and a white fire. Could be freezing or burning. 2 types of errors. The ones you did with passion, the ones you did without any feelings. You didn't have any feelings, that's white. That's a cold Gehenna for not being interested in Hashem's Torah or doing things of passion. That's fire Gehenna, that's hot. It could freeze you or it could burn you. Anyhow, that takes care of Tzav. So there's really 97, but the middle one probably was split. That's why it's really 97. But really there was one. It should be one pasuk together because it talks about one subject. So it's 96. So why isn't when you count up in that section right there, ches chatzi right there, talking about the big Aaron, the 8, but how come you only 7? Answer is es kesones and the kesones include something else. The underwear, the michnasayim. That's not mentioned because it's not bekavadik, and Moshe doesn't have to put it on them, they put it on themselves. The white linen breeches, so es means and also. Like kabit esovicha means even your stepfather. And it's Hashem l'keichem ta'avo, you shall serve God, and means and you should respect all Talmidei Rabbeim too. Es always means to include something. All right, we took care of that 96 and the 8 begotten by the only 7 written, but the 8. And now let's get to the Inyanim of Pesach. Shabbos HaGadol this week. There's a minhag of some to read the Haggadah on Shabbos HaGadol from Avodim Hayinu till Rav Shimon ben Gamliel Omer about the Pesach Matzah. You don't read that part, the Pesach Matzah. You don't read before Avodim Hayinu. Manishtana Omer, you start Avodim Hayinu until Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel Omer. We say that, and some say absolutely not, you shouldn't. We have a minhag to say it on Shabbos HaGadol, at Mincha, before Mincha. Now let's talk about the 4 Bomba Kashas in Pesach. The Bomba Kasha. Kitnios. Number 2, Schnapps. Is that real chametz, or is it 98% water? If you drank a revius, 4 ounces of that on Pesach, are you Chaim Koros? Or is it Taruv's chametz? You have to drink a lot of cups to get 4.5 ounces, because most of it is water. And number 3 is gebrocht. That's a world problem. Or do you have to keep gebrochts or not? And then the 4th bomba kasha. Michiras chametz. Can you sell real chametz? Only Taruv's chametz? Or can you sell chametz at all? What's the story? And then the cups here. How big does the cup have to be? What is a revius? Well, the revius goes all the way. If you're sick and old and weak, you can go down to 1.5 ounces. Or if you want to go to the maximum, Chazon Ish, which is really Nodav Yehuda, it's up to 5.5 ounces. So let's take a look. This big kos here, you don't want that. This is Arba Kosos here. See it? For Arba, but you can't drink that. It's 9 ounces. You don't mechuyev to do that. This here is much too big. Bigger than Chazonish, 6.5. This one here is just perfect, 4.4, which is the average. Not the smallest, not the biggest, 4.4. This one here, believe it or not, is smaller than the one you just saw. This is 3.9 ounces. See the 6-sided shape? That's the shape of Kosos from the Middle Ages Europe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's my name on it. Yosef Chaim. That's what I got my Boris a few years ago. This is 3.9. Not as good. Not some say you're not Yosef. Yeah, if you're sick or old or weak, maybe pregnant, whatever. But a normal, you should use 4.4, which is not the max, not the minimum. Right? This is perfect. And there's many ways to measure a revi'is. Revi'is means a quarter of. Or a quarter of a lug. Well, 4.4, which is close to 4.5, is a quarter of 18 ounces. A lug is 18 ounces. Displacement of 6 eggs. So if you put in 6 eggs, you won't get 18 ounces. Because every egg is an ounce and a half. Well, 6 times an ounce and a half is not, 6 times an ounce and a half is 9, it's not 18. So, this Katnu Habayim, the Badodi Huda said eggs got smaller. So if you come out to about, every egg is 1.89, then you come out to about 4.5 ounces. So to be Yosef, you're not sick, or let's say you hate wine, you can't drink wine, drink grape juice. Drink kal, 3%, 4%. But Rabbi says if you drink all 4 kosos of grape juice, you're 100% Yosef Arba Kosos. But you're not Yosef Cherus, because wealthy people don't serve grape juice at a dinner. They just serve the best wine, $100, $200 a bottle. You don't serve $2.59 grape juice. You Yosef, you make more big often, 100%, but you're not the Yosef Cherus. You can't do it. Rachmana, onus Rachmana Patri. You can't do it, you're Patri. Let's say you're pregnant, or nursing, or sick, or old. So you can have grape juice. If you can't even have grape juice, there's a provision to have Chamar Medina, a certain social drink. But grape juice, there's a lot of sugar in it, but that makes you drowsy. By the way, wine is less. The alcohol doesn't bother most people. It's the sugar and the sweetness. So get for Seder night, non-sweet. Not even naturally non-sweet. Dry, and it should be red. And it should be non-bavushal, because for karbonos, they use wine all the time, non-bavushal. So bavushal is no good for karbonos, but it's 100% good for us. And we take it because maybe an akum would have touched it. So they pasteurize it real quick, and they heat it, and they bring it down. The temperature, whatever it is, machlok is how high it has to be, 114, 124, 136. Then they cool it, like pasteurizing it for a second. That's called bavushal. That is puzzle for karbonos, but it's good for us. So for Seder night, you're supposed to have the best of everything, because it's chayrus. You lean back when you eat, and so you get bavushal's kosher, but non-bavushal's better. And red, and non-sweet, because you want to stay up and finish Haggadah. You know that the Jews are not so from. They have half an hour Haggadah, 2-hour meal. We have 2-hour Haggadah and half-hour meal. So you want to stay up for that. And besides, the Seder night is for transmitting the Masorah to the children, or we don't want to insult adults who have no Torah education, so we use the word children. We want to pass on the Masorah, the Iker Zach of what happened 3,322 years ago, in the year 2248. Now it's 5770. Subtract that, I think it's 3322. 3 millennia, 33 centuries ago. And we have 3,322 Sedorim since then. We pass on it to our children 1 night a year. Tomorrow night is Rabbanim. It's second night. It's only Rabbanim. We pass on the Masorah that we were slaves, and by miracle Hashem took us out. And then 7 days later he split the Yam Suf and killed the Egyptian army and kept us alive, and we survived 40 years in the Midbar with no normal food. And then we went to Eretz Yisrael, and we were there for 440 years before Shlomo built the Beis HaMikdash. And he became a king at the age of 12. And when he was 16, he started it. In 21, he was finished the Beis HaMikdash. And it lasted for 410 years. And then the Babylonians destroyed it for 70 years. It stayed no Beis HaMikdash. And we built it again for 420 years. And then the Romans destroyed it. and we've been out of the country now 1950 years or something, 1937, 40 years. We're still doing the Seder. So the Seder night is how we pass on the Masorah to children or uneducated people, and all Jews are divided in 4 categories: the Chacham, the Rasha, the Tam, the simple man, very simple idea about Yiddishkeit, even if he has a PhD, and the She'ena Dei Elishal, learning disabled. You tell them simple stuff. There's 5 mitzvahs Seder night. 2 are Deraisa, 3 are the Rabbanan. The second night, all the Rabbanan. Because the second night, Yom Tov is Rabbanan. The night, 2 are Deraisa. The Mat Tisaper, Vigadim Tol Bincha, tell your son. If he's a simple son, just tell him over superficial. Or if you're smart, the Mat Tisaper, tell him in detail. So that's one mitzvah of Haggadah. The second mitzvah is Be'erev Tochlu Matzos. Mitzvah d'oraisa to eat kazayis of matzah. 1 kazayis, Yosef. How much is that? Hand-baked matzah, 3/4. Hand-baked matzah, a half. Machine, 3/4, because it's smaller. Some say 1/3 of a matzah. There's some machlokas about it. How much is a kazayis? How much fits in your side of your mouth? If you took a matzah before Pesach and crushed it up, most of it is air, crushed it up and put it into a little thing. Kazayis and machlokas, what is a kazayis? 1 ounce, 2 ounces. So, 1 mouth cheekful is a kazayis. We have to eat 1 kazayis. So there's a minute to eat another kazayis for the korech, the sandwich, and another 2 kazayisim for the apikoman, because the apikoman comes at the end of the meal, like the korban pesach came at the end of the meal. So we eat 2 kazayisim, 1 for the korban pesach, and 1 with the matzah for the korban pesach. So altogether there's 4 kazayisim. 1 at the beginning, korech 2, and this is 4. And then you should lean back when you eat the matzah, because matzah is a sign of cherus. Cherus is poor man's bread. How can you lean back? Karpas, an aperitif, the rich man people, you lean back. The meal, the beautiful meal, lean back. How can you lean? Wine, 4 cups. Cherus, 4 expressions of geula, you lean back. Why do you lean back for matzah? Because that night we were taken out of Mitzrayim from slaves of Pharaoh, we became slaves of Hashem. From Avdei Pharaoh to Avdei Hashem. Being slaves of Pharaoh, you're slaves. Being slaves of Hashem, you're totally free. The more you learn, the more free you are of the Yetzer Hara. Therefore, the night they went out of Mitzrayim, their Pesach was 1 night. That was it. 1 day, 1 night. It was over by midnight. Next morning, they put on flour and water in a sack, and they wanted to rise to chametz. Next day, take it out sometime and bake it on a rock in the desert. And they opened it up, it was matzah. The nace happened after you see it from Mitzrayim. That's the lechem, not of avdus or lechem only. It's lechem de hamenusa, the bread where we got emunah. And that's why you lean back by matzah, not because you're eating lechem only. Yeah, we were poor of mitzvahs, but we were, as soon as when Hashem came down on that night, 24/48, night of 14th going into the 15th, it was Gilu Shechina, all firstborn died. Male firstborn or female firstborn. Or if there's no firstborn, the oldest one in the family. There was not a single Egyptian home where there wasn't at least 1 corpse. Because they were the firstborn of the nations. The most technologically advanced. God wanted to show them you're nothing. You're zero. These hoarded slaves, they're my interest, not you. And in fact, after 10 months it took, or 6 months, or 10 months, to bring the 10 plagues. And a week later, after Mitzvah, he not only destroyed the country, he destroyed the army of Egypt with the king Pharaoh. Not even 1 man survived. Not even 1. The king of Nineveh was a Gilgal. Just like Bilam was a Gilgal Lavan, same letters. Reincarnation. Alright, so now let us look at these kosos. This one here we said is about 9, much too big. This one here is about 6.5, bigger than Chazonish. This is perfect, 4.4. You have to measure to have in the back, to have a little check if it's good, or X if it's below 4.4. X could be good, but it's not perfect. This is 3.9. It's smaller than this. This is smaller than this. So illusions could sometimes fool you. Let's talk about schnapps. Let's say, God forbid, you drink beer or schnapps on Pesach. Let's say you drank a Revius 4.4. Are you a Chayiv Kores? Well, is it a Kazais of Chametz or is it Taruv of Chametz? But when you dehydrate it, most of it's water. Big machlokas. Chaim said it's Chametz Gomer Chayiv Kores. Others just don't agree with that. Go to Tov Mem Ches. Want to see what they talk about this? My. Chavetz Chaim is very, very makbid. Beer or whiskey, yain, sorov, or schnapps, he holds your Chaim Kores and Revius. Not everybody holds this. Shalv Shuvas, Chasam Sofer, Kufches, Chosav, Sheyain, sorov, whiskey, he Taruvas Chometz, the Kain Chosav, Machazes, Ashekel, Simon Tov, Kufnim, and Aleph, Mem, and Saint Orach HaShulchan, and Shari Tshuva, and the Shari Tshuva calls Yain sort of whiskey Chometz Noksha. It's not even. It's until the moment it gets ready for sale. It's not even edible. Pri Yitzchak Shulchan Aruch Yerodei Sim Yud Gimel Nodi Yehuda Avol Hamishna Bruda Nikra Yain sort of Chometz Gormur. Whiskey is 4.5 ounces of that. Is Gormur Yichai Kodesh. Look at Simon Tov Mem Bey, Sivkot and Dalid, page 26 in the volume of this volume of Mishnah Berurah. So that takes care of that. Now, what about Chametz She'over Lo Pesach? After Pesach, if you didn't sell the Chametz, you found something in your drawer. If it's Chametz Gomer, it's forever forbidden forever. Noodles and cake and stuff at your freezer. If you got to sell pizza or bread or something, you didn't sell it and you didn't know about it. It's forbidden forever. It's called Chametz She'ovar Lo Pesach. Pesach passed over. That's only for Chametz Gomer. But Chametz Taruvas Chametz, a little canned food with a drop of vinegar in it, which is 1,000 to 1 bottle, or maybe long as it's 60 to 1 bottle. After Pesach, it's all right. But if you hold, like the Mishnah Berurah holds, that Yain Sorov is Chametz Gomer, so that $100 bottle of whiskey can never be used. Others hold this Taruvas Chametz, even during Pesach. Therefore, after Chametz is mutter. What about Gebrochts? Gebrochts is 100% mutter. Some people have a chumrah not to do it. Where do you find that? Tov Samach Aleph Dalet. Tov Samach Aleph Dalet. Ooh, here it is. Tov Samach Aleph Dalet. Tov Samach Aleph Dalet. Tov Samach Aleph. Here he goes. Mishnah Berurah Dalet. It says here in Tov Samach Aleph, which is the siman on Dine Afiyas Masa, baking of Masa, Dalet. Yotze Adam, a man is Yotze. Yotze means, b'di'evet, not Chachila, but you Yotze. Adam b'masa shiruya, matzah that's soaked in water. He shelo nimucha, but it's not dissolved totally, soaked in water. Al-b'im bashla, but if you cooked it, and Yotzebo. This is a mind blower for some people who don't know Shulchan Aruch. Yotze Adam, you're Yotze, but the Chatchili shouldn't be like that, but you're Yotze, and it's definitely not Chametz. Yotze Adam, it's a siman Tov Samach Aleph in the Shulchan Aruch Dalet. Yotze Adam, b'mitzvah, for the mitzvah, you're Yotze, but the Adam can b'matzah shiruya, soaked matzah, b'hu shelo nimucha, but it's not dissolved. Im b'ashla, you cooked it and Yotzebo. Because 100% okay, shelo l'shem mitzvah, but it's not matzah. You're not yotzer. He said you're l'shem mitzvah, but l'bedievet, not l'chatchila. Mutter legamrei le'echol matzah shuruya b'chol mashkin afilu me'eis le'eis up to 24 hours. Gebrochs is 100% mutter avol l'shem mitzvah, but the eved you only be the eved yotzer for l'shem mitzvah. Erev Tov L'Matzos, but during the rest of the Pesach, you can eat gebrachs. There's many people eat gebrachs. Many people put every morning, every morning they put the matzah crumble up, put it in their coffee. I have the 3 Haggadahs of the Rosh Yeshivas, you know them? You know, there's pictures of the 6 Rosh Yeshivas on every cover, 6 different ones, 18 different Rosh Yeshivas on the 3, the Art Scroll sells it, these Haggadahs of the Rosh Yeshivas. Go through each one of them. 18 different Rosh Yeshivas. 90% permit gebrachs. I know that Hasidim don't do it. Correct. But it's mutter. And definitely, if you have a minhag not to do it, you are not allowed to do it. And there's minhagim. Some people don't eat tomatoes. Some people don't eat fish. You know, the Shulchan Aruch says you can't have sugar. Okay, the process is different today. You can have sugar. Some want to forbade potatoes. You know that? Some want to forbade coffee beans because they hold as legumes. Kitnios. But these are different minhagim, so you have to follow your minhag and don't change from it. And it says here, and we'll get to the third thing about kitnios. Want to see a mind blower about kitnios? Kitnios, it says that if an Ashkenazi breaks this minhag, which is 700 years old, he gets misa, b'yedei shomayim, not by a court of man, not for eating kitnios. Sfardim are good tzaddikim, they eat kitnios. Ashkenazi eats kitnios, is misa b'yedei shomayim, not for eating the kitnios. It's for breaking a minhag Yisrael. He was poreitz geder. He broke a minhag, his minhag. Poreitz geder, yinashchena nochash, a snake shall bite him. Means the Yetzer Hara will grow in him. And once you break a minhag, and then you break another minhag, and then another minhag, and then another minhag, turn the word around. Gehenna. That's how the Reformers started in the beginning. They were not Mechal Shabbos, or Eight Treifas, or Mari Goyim. They were Reformers in 1775, 1820, 1815, when they started the first synagogue. They changed a few minhagim. And then within 30, 40 years, they married Goyim. They had services on Sunday. They forbade Orthodox rabbis to operate shechita and mikvah and to learn Gemara. That was nonsense. They said, Milo was a barbaric African rite. That's how bad they became. That's why it says in Kriya Shema, and yifta levavachem, and your heart will stray. Yifta, turn away a little bit. V'vadatem and himachem will serve other gods. Gemara says, right away we stray a little bit, you're going to serve other gods. What is Torah? No, not right away. Your children, your grandchildren. Once you play games with him, and you change a minhag, Gehenna. Takes a door or two, and then you marry Goyim. Keep Mechal Shabbos. Intermarry. The worst thing of all. Intermating. And that person you marry could be a wonderful person. Could be a tzaddik. But doesn't have Kedushas Yisrael. Yitzchak said to Abraham, no, you're looking for a bride for your Yitzchak? Why don't you take my daughter? He says, you're from Edom. You're a Knani. Ad to Arur, Vani Baruch. You are cursed, because Noach woke up from the drunk and said, Arur Canaan. And Baruch, I'm blessed, and we can't mix those two things. He was the greatest man in the world, Eliezer next to Abraham. Dola Mashke. He took all the Torah of Abraham and explained it to everybody in the world. The biggest tzaddik in the world. He was totally controlled. The Moshel Beso, the ruler of his estate. Abraham was a millionaire. He was the totally control of his own Yetzer Hara. Biggest tzaddik in the world, except he came from Edom. He doesn't have Yichus of Yisrael. You have to come from Shem. So you really think that he told his Eliezer, you're cursed and I'm blessed? Avraham Avinu, the Amud HaChesed, with an insulted person. He looked at him and he said no. And he understood Eliezer because he was a big Talmud Chacham. He comes from Chum, and Noach said Chum. And Shem, he said, and the Shekhinah will only dwell with Shem, So you can have the nicest person, but unless you go through halachic conversion, or you're born from a Jewish mother, you're not Jewish. So we went through the 4 Bombakashas with the 3 of them. Schnapps is a machlokes between everybody in the Chavetz Chaim. He holds that drinking revias of schnapps, yain sorof, it means burnt wine, brandy wine, burnt wine, brandy. Brandy is a type of wine. I like whiskey. Anyhow, so He holds that's kores, and others hold no, it's Tzav, but it's not kores, because it's mostly water. Dehydrates schnapps, you get mostly water. He holds that for his reasons, that is chametz gomer, you can't kores. And after Pesach, if you found chametz gomer, you can never use it ever. If it's arubas chametz, you could use it, which means you have a bottle of whiskey there, and you forgot, you didn't sell it to the guy, you didn't know about it until a week after Pesach. You can drink it, because it's trouble with chametz. Or you go to a store, a liquor store owned by a Jew who doesn't keep Shabbos and Pesach. He owns chametz on Pesach, but it's tarubas chametz, you can use it. But if you go to a store where a Jew owned bread, and he didn't sell it, you can never use that bread ever. You got to wait a week until it's used up. Therefore, you go to a non-Jewish outlet and buy all your chametz. Or to a from Jew that was closed on Pesach. And gebrachs, we said it's 100% mutter, because once the matzah is baked, it can never wake up and go, or wake up and go back into chametz. So people are machmir, they should keep that. It's very important. Believe it or not, where I come from, everyone eats gebrachs, except me, and my father. Because he had a minig, when he went to Litta, he took this minig on and he didn't matter it. So if you do it 3 times, it's like a nader. I asked him, why wouldn't you matzah nader? He said, why? Matzah nader only if it bothers you or bothers somebody else. If it's disturbs shalom bayis or your panos, doesn't bother, so I keep gebrachs. But we eat it on gebrachs, matzah balls on the 8th day of Pesach, because just to show it's not really awesome. Interesting, huh? And kitnios, we said for Ashkenazi, if you eat, you can have kitnios in the house on Pesach of yours, Ashkenazi, you don't have to sell it. 100% mutter. We don't eat it, that's all. You put it in the freezer or market. We don't eat kitnios. That's why we take certain pills that the coating in the shell is kitnios. You can, the Ashkenazi can swallow it, because that's not their achila. If you ate on Pesach a piece of bread, swallow it with one gulp, you're not chayiv kardas midaraisa, because that's not the way people eat. If it's chazer gomer, if it's treif gomer during the year, that's not. You shouldn't do it. But chatchila is not usher, because chatchila is not kares, or usher, because it's not the way you eat. Liquid medicine is different, because people drink. That's a normal way to drink. Therefore, you got to be careful with liquid medicines. If they're kitnios, you got a problem. Of course, chametz you don't eat. Even we don't have. Even Ashkenazim don't use kitnios. And by the way, there's certain Sfardim that do not eat kitnios. There's certain Sfardim. Look in Blumenkranz's book, you'll see certain Sfardim do not eat kitnios. They don't follow the Sfardish minhag. They do the Ashkenaz. Like there's certain Sfardim that Chanukah, every male lights an increasing amount of lights. That's only Ashkenazim do that, but they've done that. They have adopted our minhag, and there's certain Sfardim will go to Tashlich, which is strictly Ashkenaz minhag. They do that too. Hey, there's so many things we adopted from them, they adopted from us. And then we get to mechiras chametz. You must eat up all your chametz, or burn it, or put it in the toilet, throw it in the yam, or throw it out to the birds, but it has to be less than a kazayis when you sprinkle it and put it on the lawn before Pesach, or eating it up before Pesach. That's the way to get get rid of it. But you always can sell it to a guy. Now you can sell 100% real chametz to a guy. The pizza shops sell hundreds of pizzas. They make it every Pesach. To the guy, and they have immediately after Pesach, we got pizzas. You sell it completely to the guy. Chametz gomer. Some don't. They're right too. And because there's certain conditions about selling to the guy, he has to have the key to your house. You can't have a burglar alarm. You can't have a lock on the door. He has to come in. He has to have the key. He can come in anytime he wants. And how can you have a fence around your thing with a dog, with a burglar alarm? You can't have access. Therefore, some hold you can't. There's no real mechiras chametz today. Others 100% say there is. So Shlomo Zalman Auerbach wrote a whole chew on this, which I have in here. He says, a verbal selling to a guy is worthless. It must be on a document. Because he says when you come to a court and you tell the dayan or the judge, well, Your Honor, I didn't mean that. He says, I'm sorry, sir, it's written. You signed the document. Here it is. What you think means nothing. It's only what you signed on paper. Therefore, if you don't do it through a rav with a star, it's worthless. Or if you give it to your neighbor, the guy, and you say, listen, keep it for Pesach, and at the end of Pesach, if you want to give it back to me, you can. Really, that should have been done through a star. Verbal means nothing. If you get rid of it, never get it back, fine. but really doing without the star, said Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, it's harama, it's trickery and subterfuge, is not worth anything. It must be done through a Talmud Chacham. It has to be done through a document, only through a star. He has to sign it, you have to sign. He has to give you a down payment for all the chametz he's getting. Maybe you're selling from 500 people, maybe one guy has a bakery worth $5 million, $10 million, or a whiskey factory, $20 million. The guy doesn't have to know what's written over there in Hebrew, $20 million, unless he wants to finalize the deal. So he gives you $5 or $10 or $20 or $30 as a down payment. After Pesach, we tell him, you want to buy the chametz? You have a right to buy it. I can't sell it to anybody else. But give me here $28 million or $2,800 or $500 at the balance. You only gave me $10, then it's yours. But he says, most guys will say, no, you can have it back. So he gives you give him back the $10, and you give another $10 or $20 or $50 for his time, for his owning it for those 8 days, like a car or a house. You got to pay a down payment, $10,000 or something, and then 10 days you're not going to sell it, and you can back out. But if you come within 10 days and you want to finalize the deal, he keeps the $10,000, he deducts it from your payment. If you come within 10 days, you change your mind, he has to give it back, which means he owns it, but he doesn't own it. Same thing with the chametz. He owns it if he wants to go through with it at the end. Then he has to give you the balance of all the chametz, whatever it's worth. He decides not to. It's too much bother. He doesn't need this guy's cereal and this guy's bottle of whiskey. So he gives you back you give him back the $10 or $20, and you give him another $50 or $100 to make it worthwhile, so he should come next year. Now, once happened to my father that the guy, the Spanish guy, Pedro, mostly Shabbat, mostly Yom Kippur, mostly Pesach, he didn't come to the immediately after Maariv. He didn't come there, so he called up the wife. Yeah, he's in church. It's Easter, midnight mass or something. I don't know what it was. 10 o'clock, and then the hundreds of balabatim, 300 balabatim waiting to eat chametz that night. They can't until you buy it back from the guy. So he learned from that a lesson. Always, always, always have with the guy at the sale, Erev Pesach, an attorney, from Jew, who will be his proxy. And you tell him, hey, Andrew or Pedro, if you don't show up, then this man will buy it back for you. Okay, you allow that? Fine. So a proxy, a power of attorney. So you always have someone else to do that, because maybe the guy, God forbid, died, or drunk, or is in church. How do you know? So you have to, and they can't do balabatim, can't wait. Right after Abdullah, they want to eat something, chametz. So you have to have him show up in shul immediately before Maariv. So he's there a minute after Maariv. So you have to have, if you're a smart Rav, you have an attorney, because it has to be legal by the state of New York or whatever state you're in, and he has to be your proxy. Now let's finish up here with something very interesting. Chad Gadya by the Vilna Gaon. What does that mean? The last song we sing is Chad Gadya, Chad Gadya. Chad Gadya, Chad Gadya. One gedi, one goat. Tzav ben Abba b'zreisu ze Chad Gadya. Tzav ben Abba b'zreisu ze Chad Gadya. That Tati bought with 2 zuzim. A goat. Chad Gadya, why twice? This, says the Vilna Gaon, is in microcosm, a crash course on Jewish history. Gadya is Yosef. That's why we got into it trying, because brothers sold him. Gedi is a goat. Gedi is 17. That's how old he was when they sold him. Gadya. Why twice? Because Yosef got the bracha of the Bechor, not Reuben, Bechor, from Yitzchak. How did Yitzchak get it? He got it from Yaakov. How did Yaakov get it? Because his mother Rivka told him, bring 2 gedi and prepare it for your father Yitzchak, and he'll give you the bracha instead of Esau. That's what it was. It happened to be Erev Pesach. So he brought 1 gedi, 1 goat. Now that's what we do when Mashiach, when you had the Beis HaMikdash. 1 was korban chagiga, the regular meal. Then the dessert was korban Pesach. So there's 2 goats or 2 sheep, makes no difference. So Rivka told the son Yaakov, go to the barn outside and get 2 gedis. They taste like wild deer, like Esau went to get. And prepare it. I'll prepare it too, because it was Erev Pesach. Chad Gadya, 2 gedi. And then Yitzchak will give you the bracha. Yaakov later gave to Yosef. And they hate him for that, because he loved Rachel, his mother, more than Leah. And the jealousy, and they sold him to Mitzrayim, and then they came down, and the Jewish people developed there for 210 years, and they were slaves, and God took them out of Mitzrayim. So, Chad Gadya all started with the Gedi, 17. That means Yosef. And Chad Gadya, because he got the bracha from Yaakov that he got from Yisrael by preparing 2 gedi. Trei zuzeh, 2 zuz. Well, 4 zuz and a shekel. And a chatzi shekel is trei. Isn't that interesting? They sold Yosef for 20 coins, and there were 10 brothers. Each one got 2. Got a chatzi shekel. This is a punishment for selling Yosef, this whole story. Chad Gadya. A shekel is 4 zuzim, half shekel is 2 zuzim, and zuz is equal to 20 silver coins, and 10 brothers into 20 is 2. They got a chatzi shekel each. So let's take a look. Chad Gadya, the Tzav and Arba, the daddy bought. Yaakov got the bracha of Avram. Yitzchak got the bracha of Avram. They gave over to Yaakov. Yaakov gave it to Yosef, the Bechor. And Reuven lost the Bechor. You know that because he was too quick with the beds. He was a triple loser. He lost the Bechor given to the 11th son, Yosef. He lost the Kahuna given to the 3rd son, Levi. From Levi comes Kohan. And he lost the Malchus given to the 4th son, Yehuda. And he spent the rest of his life doing tshuva, Reuven. He was the first Baal Tshuva. So you can say, wait a minute, isn't Cain the first Baal Tshuva? He said, go to Labonim and so. Yeah, he did tshuva, but he didn't stay about tshuva his whole life. Reuven stayed about tshuva the rest of his life. That is the real Baal Tshuva. He changed his life and never reverted back, and he was very sorry for what he did. Now we get to the next step. Also Shundra, the cat came, not a kitty cat, a tiger and a lion. These are the Shvatim, who ate the Gadya, who wanted to kill Yosef, the Gedi. And then comes the Kaulbal, the dog, Pharaoh, that bit the cat, that beat up the Shvatim, were called Shundra, the cat, the tiger, the lion, who ate the Gadya, who wanted to kill Yosef. Pharaoh's called the Keleb, a dog, because Moshe said to Hashem, look at this dog who's in torturing the Jewish people. So Hashem said, don't call him dog. As long as the king have respect for him. It says in Chumash, who he commanded Moshe and Aaron about Pharaoh and about Bnei Yisrael. About Pharaoh, treat him with respect. One day I'll kill him, but now you treat him with respect. And about the Bnei Yisrael, who were very disrespectful to Moshe because they were slaves, and have tolerance for their chutzpah. Tolerate them, at the Gemara says, how much? Until they want to stone you. A leader has to tolerate a lot of chutzpah. To be a leader, eventually they love you. You have to educate them. And he called Pharaoh a Kelev. So Hashem said, don't you ever call a leader a Kelev. I made him a king. He says, Bo el Pharaoh. Remember the one that said the story is Bo el Pharaoh? Why doesn't it say Lech? No, Bo, come to me. I made him a king. I gave him power and majesty. When you see him, you have a small idea what is Melech Malchei Amlochem. He's the Melech. I'm the Melech Malchei Amlochem. I gave him cover. Don't disrespect him. Therefore, these modern or Jewish organizations that put advertisements in Jewish magazines and they call this king here, this president of the United States, a criminal, and Russia, it's very, very against the Torah. Moshe called Pharaoh a Kelev. Moshe was reprimanded. You don't call this president of the United States, I don't care what he does, a Kelev. But Rabbi printed in the paper, it's going to haunt you, that thing. Call him a criminal like that. I've seen. Enemy of the Jewish people. You don't say that. You have no right to disrespect the leader. That's a Torah concept. People ignorant of Torah think they're smarter than Chachamim. It's going to come to haunt you. And that leader over there, Netanyahu, he's the Prime Minister of Israel. You disagree with him, but you do not shame him in public, ever, if you're a Torah Jew. The Chazon Ish got up when Ben Gurion came into his house and put on the Shabbos clothes because he's the Prime Minister. He's an atheist because he said he never went to shul for 42 years. When he came and it was honored by Yeshiva University, he was a kaifer maybe, an apikoros. Chazon Ish stood up for him, walked into his house, and wouldn't look at him for the whole interview, to learn the way, because he's used to look at a Russian. But he expected to treat him with respect. That's the Adam Gadol B'Yisrael, Chazon Ish. And he had so much derech eretz. David Green, that was his name. Ben Gurion means green. He studied in Pinsk and Cheder. Yeah, Derech Eretz for the Chazon Ish, he understood already the Gadol would get the good. And he said, Chazon Ish said, if you take women into the Jewish army and force the men to eat treifas, I'll be Mispal for Hashem to destroy the state. And he understood that, Ben Gurion. When he got very old, he says, when I get to Shemayim, they're never going to blame me for stopping chinuch, Torah chinuch, because he didn't stop that either. See, well, maybe he wasn't a kofar, maybe it was just a Rosh, maybe he's not a kofar, but not a kofar. Yeah, enough Derech Eretz. Chazon Ish showed him respect, so you're not allowed to mavaza this president or Netanyahu. He called, Moshe called Pharaoh Keleb. He said, don't you dare do that. Came the Kalba, the dog, out to Pharaoh, and bit the cat, means punished the Jewish people for 210 years. That's the Shvatim. The Ochel Gadya, who wanted to kill Yosef, who was a Gedi. Also Chutra. Then came the Chutra, the Makos, the 10 plagues. He got the Kalba, beat Pharaoh, the Egyptians. The Noshach L'Shunder, who wanted to bite the wolf. That's a wolf. As a Keleb is everything a little Pekingese. I mean, it's a wolf. That's a dog that wanted to bite the tiger or the lion. That's the Klal Yisrael. The Ochel and Gadya, who wanted to kill Yosef. Also, Nura came a fire. That's the Yetzer Hara of Avodah Zorah. After they got out of Mitzrayim, eventually they got involved in Avodah Zorah. But sort of l'chutra, and burnt up the stick, nullified the makos that the Egyptians got, because the Jews were doing Avodah Zorah. The hika the kalba that the makos was beating Keleb, dog, Pharaoh. That this wolf bit the cat, the lion, which was the shvatim, who wanted to eat up the Gedi, Yosef. Also Mayo, they came to Anshe Knesset Agdolah, reinstituted Torah. Mayim is Torah. And it put out the fire of the Yetzer Hara. The sword of the Chutran, the fire burned up the Chutran, the stick, the makos, the effect of the makos was lost. That the stick hit the dog, Pharaoh, punished the Egyptians, 10 plagues. That the Pharaoh wanted to bite the dog, the wolf, wanted to bite the cat, the Shvatim, the Jewish people. Also the God who wanted to eat the Gedi. Also, Torah came to Torah. Tavav Reish Aleph doesn't mean Tavav Reish A. Torah means Torah, a bull. That's Edom. They destroyed second base of English, Roman Empire. The unholy Roman Empire, the Christian church. Also, Torah came to Torah, the Edom, the Esavs, the Edom, Amalek, the church, Christian church, Rome. The Shos of the Maya, they drank up the water. They nullified the Koich of the base of English, which was Anshe Knesset Agdolah before the second Mayas. The Kavod the Nur, the base of Mikdash, put out the fire of the Yetzer Hara, the Anshe Knesset Agdolah. And the fire was to burn the Chutra, burnt up the stick, the makos, nullified the punishment of the Egyptians. And the stick hit the dog, the wolf. That's Pharaoh. Noshach L'Shunder, who bit the Jewish people, that's the cat. You know why the Jewish people considered a cat? Because cats, all cats, little ones and big ones, always mate but sneers. They never mate openly. Jewish people have sneers. In Mitzrayim, they never were non-sneers. Even in the Midbar, the openings of everyone's tent was facing away from the opening of the other one's tent. Sneers they had. The Ochel Gadya, the one to eat up the Yosef. The Osa Hashoche, then come the slaughterer, Mashiach ben Yosef, who's going to destroy Amalek, Esav, Edom, the church. Osa Hashoche, Mashiach ben Yosef. The Shachar that say who's going to shech the bull, the Edom. The Shos of the Maya, they put out the second base, the water, base of English, with the light of the Torah is. The Kavod Nura, and the Mayim put out the water, the fire. Nura is the Yetzer Hara fire. There's no water. There's only Yetzer Hara. The wire they killed it. They got rid of the water, so the water could not put out the fire. The sword of L'chutza, the beat up, they burned up the stick, the makos, which means nullified all the punishments the Egyptian got. He got the Kalba, they hit Pharaoh. The Loshach L'Shundra, that bit the Jewish people. The Ochel the God who wanted to kill Yosef. Also Malach HaMoves. Now comes the Malach HaMoves. Malach HaMoves comes and he's going to shech the shochet. Mashiach ben Yosef will be killed. The shochet, the Torah that destroyed, Mashiach ben Yosef destroyed Esau, Amalek, Edom, Amalek. The Shos of the Maya that drank the water, that's the cloudy soil. They wanted to put out the cloudy soil as Torah. The Kov of the Nura, the Torah of Israel, put out the fire of the Yitzhahara. The sword of the Chutra that burned up the stick, the effects of the Makos on the Egyptians. The Hiko de Kalwa that hit, the stick hit the dog, Pharaoh, the Egyptians. The Noshach Shundra that bit the cloudy soil, the cat, that's Bnei Yisrael, who wanted to eat the Gadya. Also Kadosh Baruch Hu, the last one. Then comes the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Ooh, that is the day of Gilui Shechina and Yisrael will be on top. That is the day that Hashem destroys Gog and Magog. Mashiach when Yosef destroys Amalek, Hashem destroys Gog and Magog. When Yisrael gets on top. Also Kadosh Baruch Hu, Gilui Shechina, Cloud Yisrael. The superiority of Cloud Yisrael. The Shachel Malcham he's going to kill the Satan. The Shachel Shochet that killed Mashiach ben Yosef when he was killing Amalek. He was to be killed in the process. But Gog and Magog, Hashem takes care of. The Shachal Nura, Torah goes all through the thing. Chad Gadya, Chad Gadya, Tzav bin Abba Bizreisu Chad Gadya, Tzav bin Abba Bizreisu Chad Gadya. Afraid of the pain, everybody? Chad Kosher v'Sameach. Have a very kosher v'Sameach Pesach. Be careful for those mashahus because they get you. You don't have to shampoo the rug. You just have to vacuum it. Good, that's it. The mashahus are bottled before Pesach. On Pesach, of course, they're not bottled, not even elif bottled. But remember, spring cleaning is very nice, but that's not cleaning for chametz. Avoy side, so long, have a good Shabbos, and probably won't see you before Pesach. In the Chol Mode, we'll have another one about Shir HaShirim, because that's what we're going to read next Shabbos, not this one. Well, not this one. Next one, Shabbos Chol Mode, we read Shir HaShirim, and we're going to find out why Hashem's name is not in Shir HaShirim. Good Shabbos, agree on to.